Hello, welcome to the Boot Room. Andy Warren and Stuart Watson looking ahead to Ipswich Town's home clash with Cambridge United. Stu, Town going into this one on such a high after a thrilling victory over Portsmouth at the weekend. A really good afternoon for everybody associated with the club, and great to have another home game coming so quickly after, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, it's another chance for Ipswich to prove that they are leveled up from last season, that they're a better side, and at every turn, almost exclusively this season, they have proven that they can go to places like Accrington and Burton and win. They can beat teams that have come up from the division below. They finally got their monkey off the back in terms of beating one of the better sides at the weekend. Now, can they back it up? Consistency has been an issue for Ipswich during their time in League One. So, off the back of a very big high, can they go and beat Cambridge? Some similarities to last year, where they'd just beaten Plymouth at home 1-0 off the back of a very big high, and then fell flat, lost 1-0 at home to Cambridge. So, another chance to show the narrative has changed this season.
That was a really big one for Ipswich. I think they were 11 unbeaten going into that game with Cambridge, and back in the very start of April, and were building a proper head of steam as they were charging to get into the playoffs. But that felt almost terminal that afternoon, didn't it? When it all fell flat in that game like that. A 1-0 home loss that kind of derailed them, and they never were able to get back in touch. But this time, obviously, we're a long way out from those kind of discussions, but Town are clear in second on their own, and in isolation, Stu, this is a game they'd be hoping to come into and win a home game. These are all games that Town should be really hoping to win if they want to get to where they want to go. But as we've just said there, that can sometimes be a bit of a trap if you're falling into a little bit of after the Lord Mayor's show trap. So, is there a real concern Town might fall into that, or do we think that there's enough there to avoid it?
I think if there's one manager that won't allow that to happen, it's Kieran McKenna. I think he fired some warning shots going into that Cambridge game back in April, when everyone was, I think, just sort of going, well, yeah, we'll beat Cambridge. He was saying, no, they're going to come to Portman Road, bigger stadium than they're used to playing at, and they're going to be highly motivated. They're an energised team. They're aggressive. They get balls into the box. They get bodies around Joe Ironside up front. We need to be on it, because if we're off it one little bit, we'll be in trouble. And that is what happened. But this is a bit of a different Ipswich team this time around. That was Tom Carroll's last game for Ipswich. They're a better team now than they were then, no doubt about it. So you would hope that this is another case of Ipswich showing that they're a better team than they were just a few months ago. So looking forward to this. It's always special under the lights. These home double headers are always occasions to savour, and could really inject a bit of momentum into Ipswich's season, hopefully.
Wasn't expecting to discuss Tom Carroll today. Still without a club, I know. Yeah, a night under the lights, double header, 6 points, right back on track. That's what the hope has got to be for Ipswich, coming off of a big win at the weekend. In terms of the team, for me, it's quite a simple one here. They've obviously won a really big game. I'm not sure there's an awful lot that needs to change. I would be looking at the forward area though, with Freddie Ladapo, who scored with his first touch at the weekend, coming into that starting 11, and I think that would probably be the only switch I'd make. But there are a few areas that may be worthy of discussion, even if you ultimately land back on the same side going again.
Yeah, we're not talking about players dropping out for reasons of form. It would be purely through freshening it up for another game so quickly after Saturday. A lot's gone into these last few games against Sheffield Wednesday, Plymouth, and this one, but it will be one or two tweaks maximum. You would have thought the obvious area, as you've discussed, is up front. Freddie Ladapo, 3-3 all competitions, now came on and made a difference at the weekend. My gut feeling is it would be him in for Tyrese John-Jules, who put a lot of work into his 70 minutes at the weekend. Other areas up for discussion: Kyle Edwards. Haven't seen him start a league game since, well, I don't think he has under McKenna, has he? For
No.
reasons of injury and others in form and formation. But but he made a real impact when replacing Marcus Harness at the weekend. McKenna's really praised how he's been training for the last couple of weeks. He's a different type of player to Harness, would stay a little bit wider, a bit more of a one-on-one runner. Is there a question mark there? I would imagine impact player off the bench, wouldn't you, for that position?
Quite possibly, yeah, probably. The way McKenna talks about him at the moment, though, is that start might not be too far away. And if it's not too far away, I think I'd be looking at giving him that game at Portman Road in a game like the Cambridge one, where Town should have a lot more of the ball, rather than, say, that rolling over to the Morecambe game at the weekend, for example, where that it's going to be a slightly different game. Probably Marcus Harness scores goals, and he did that at the weekend. So I probably would go with Harness still, but I can definitely see an argument why Edwards right now for this game, ride him while he's on a bit of a high, because they need to get him working. I think it's important that they find a way to get him working well in this team, because we know he's got the ability, don't we? We know he's got it and he can do it. And with people like Aluko out, even a Habmay out as a striker, means that he just jumps that little bit further up in terms of rotations and things like that. And it would be great to see an on-song Kyle Edwards, wouldn't it? And this might be an opportunity to get him going. But for the here and now, you probably go with the man who's just scored another goal at the weekend and is a bit of a sharpshooter.
Yeah. Any other areas for discussion? We wondered whether George Edmondson was in the amber zone, whether he was someone that might be going towards sort of dropping out. Hasn't hit his sort of same heights at the start of this season, but I think he answered that emphatically at the weekend. He was one of Ipswich's better players, got his head on everything in both boxes, had a hand in the winner. So I think he probably keeps Richard Keogh at bay again for this one. Central midfield is maybe one other area of discussion which would have seemed unthinkable just a week or so ago with Morsey and Evans really in form, really on it. But Don Ball is back and fully fit now. It's easy to forget that they've got a very championship-hardened central midfielder there, and just wonder whether, if you're talking Saturday schedule, whether Don Ball is someone you call upon at some stage. Again, very unlikely, but I just thought I'd throw that one in the mix.
I'd probably say no for this one, because of the kind of game it would be. Lee Evans didn't get as much time to kind of use the ball and sweep it around against Portsmouth as he has in other games. But I think Don Ball at Morecambe, at the weekend might be a decent shout. That's one to discuss maybe heading into the weekend potentially, because I think
Sam Morsey's a booking away from a suspension now, I believe. So maybe that's when the door is first ajar for Don Ball, and then it will be interesting to see how he plays from there and how it's handled. But just that there will come a point where he's a stronger part of the conversation, I would say. Maybe not this one.
And he's shown that he's a decent player in his cup outings and appearances from the bench so far. Let's round off with some predictions then, Stu. Can Town back this one up? What are you saying?
Yes, I think they can. I think they've come a long way since that game against Cambridge back in April. They're a better team. The left side has been sorted out with Leif Davis. There's so much. They just look an improved team from then. And Cambridge started the season quite well. They've kept hold of their manager in Mark Bonner, who'd spoken to Rotherham recently. They're a settled squad. It's pretty much the same squad, same team that they had last season. But I think that the highest ranked team that they've taken points off of so far is Exeter. They got a draw away at Charlton, but when they've run into the better teams in this division, Portsmouth, Barnsley, Derby, they've lost. And if Ipswich are serious about doing what we all hope that they can do this season, these are the sort of games that they need to win. So, I'll back them to go and do that, Andy. I've got them for a 2-0.
It's exactly what I've got as well. So once again, we agree, which means probably once again, that's not how it's going to finish. But hopefully the sentiment is right and Town can come out and make this 6 points from back-to-back home games.